just like everyone else. I have a propane stovetop and a propane oven. I have a little issues with these things in that the propane burners are too close to each other to effectively use all three. At best you can use two, but you're never going to get to be able to use three. Now most cooking I do, I'm only going to use one burner, so it's an okay problem. The other thing I have an issue with, this glass lid is pretty dumb. When I'm traveling, I don't want this thing to break, so I put it down. But it even says on here, do not place pans on the glass surface. So they want to give you the impression that this creates more countertop. But how do I use this if I don't want to break the glass? So wherever I go, the first thing I end up doing is putting it up to get it out of the way. Why? Now the oven is propane, and I don't know how effective the temperature is for controlling it, so I basically almost always go full heat and just watch my food to see how it's cooking. So it works, it's fine, but it's not the most efficient because it's kind of a large area, and I'm really just cooking French fries, some chicken tenders, a couple of pieces of fish maybe. So it's a lot of space that I have to heat up, and I'm using a lot of propane when I'm boondocking. And just like many others, people complain that these things don't heat evenly. I haven't tried mine to cook it, to see if it cooks evenly or not. So I just did like everyone else and got a pizza stone, slide it in there so I don't have to worry about it unevenly cooking my food. Although some people, I've been told, instead of buying a pizza stone, which I got pretty cheap, they'll just go to the hardware store and get a ceramic tiles for, you know, like your bathroom tiles, and just use that instead because it's just ceramic. But I'm using my propane in winter to also heat up throughout the day. So if I wake up in the morning, I can't cook if I ran out of propane through the night heating up my RV. Oh, and I should also mention, I do have a microwave. It's 120 volt AC, right? So this only works if I have AC power, which I don't have when I'm boondocking unless I'm running off my inverter. But then I have to crawl in the back here, find a plug, unplug it from the wall, plug it into my extension cord to my inverter, and then I can run it. But I haven't tried. My previous travel trailer was an R-Pod, and it had a microwave convection oven. But once again, that still requires 120 volts AC. So when I'm boondocking, I'm kind of limited in my ability to use that. Now since I have solar power, I would prefer to try to use electric devices, because I can just recharge the battery, I don't have to run back into town and get propane. So my really limitation when I'm boondocking is water. But the problem here is, I have limited space. So I can't quite have all of these things. I mean, there are some limitations to all of these individual items. This is my rice cooker, and I love this guy. I've used it forever. I don't know, 15 years? Great. I can steam with it. So it has its ability to do that. The other thing is, it has a little bit of a stopper on the bottom that kind of grips. So when I'm traveling on the road, it doesn't move too much. Unlike my poor little pressure cooker. This little guy, it's just got plastic at the bottom, so it slides around. So when I went to Alaska, this little guy, yeah, it got beat up because it slid around inside my cabinet and would fall over pretty easily. I mean, it still works, it's fine. It's a pressure cooker. It's, can't really mess this thing up. And I can do some steaming with this as well. And I've used it quite often for a while, then I've just kind of stopped. It's kind of hit or miss whether or not I even use this little guy. So that's another thing that I would like to be able to incorporate, as it were, into one device. Finally, the last item here is my electric skillet. And it's got very good rubber bottoms. This guy never moves once it's on the road. But it has limitations in that the lid, of course, could break. It doesn't always sit here nicely, and I have found it laying off. But here's the problem with these guys. See how the heating element's around here at the base? So when you're cooking with this guy, if it gets with the light, you can see the hottest part is this part here. And so I have to keep moving food around to try and cook food just here on this ring part. But I don't know. The one advantage though for this little guy is that since it's kind of shallow, thin, right? It's easy to scoop with a flipper here to flip my food over and cook in this shallow space. Whereas if I tried to cook with something like this, if there was a device, right? I mean, the bottom of this gets really hot too, right? It's got the shallow pan, but it's deeper. So if this was larger and I could get down here, it's not really feasible to flip anything if I try and cook in here. So I end up scraping my food around to try and keep it from burning in one spot on the bottom. So this has limitations too. So watching YouTube videos and going to different stores, I've seen that there's a way to try and combine as many items into one. So I don't have as much space being eaten up by all these various electrical devices, so I can use my battery, my solar system to cook while boondocking. Ninja Foodi comes out with this one device. It's got the one lid. Now, they've got a bunch of different models, all sorts of types. A lot of them have two different lids. One lid is so that you can do pressure cooking. The other lid is so you can do basically a convection oven. They call them air fryers. It's the same thing, right? It's a convection oven. It's just a heating element and fan blowing the air around. That's a convection oven. A lot of people probably have them in their houses, but if you make them a little small appliance that sits on your counter, that convection oven now all of a sudden becomes an air fryer. What? It's just marketing. So anyway, Ninja Foodi one lid, auto lid, it's a big name. It has just a one lid, and depending on what function you want, you can make it do all sorts of different cooking options. But it's large. I mean, it's a big thing. And I'm trying to go small. That could do almost everything you possibly want to do in one appliance, but I don't know where it would fit. I'll just have to lay it out here on my couch while I'm traveling. It's too big. But I did find one called the Speedi. So I'm going to try it for a while, see how I like it. So far what I've discovered is that when I go by the directions from French fries in an air fryer, it cooks it too long. And when I did chicken nuggets and I did breaded fish inside there, it didn't cook it long enough. So you got to play with it a little bit, just like anything else you use to cook. You got to play with the cooking time frame to get it cooked the way you want. There you go, the Speedi. Steam and air fry. So not a pressure cooker, but it should do almost everything else. And it's kind of smallish once you get rid of this box. Not too bad, decent size. I mean, compared to my rice cooker, it's a little taller. If you try to open this thing up, where's the lid? There we go. That's pretty significant height. So you gotta make sure it'll clear if you want to put it underneath your counter. Mine fits, it works fine. But if it didn't fit underneath the counter, then I would just cook it right here on my kitchen island. But yeah, see, not too bad. It's a little deep. So even this guy would be a little hard to try and cook like an egg, right? It'd be a little difficult to try and scoop an egg up. So it doesn't quite fit that requirement. Which is okay, because I can just use it on the oven. I'm still using propane with that, but... So let's give this guy a try for a while. So far, like I said, I kind of enjoy it. I like it. But this will give me the option to air fry. Air fry. It's convection oven, folks. It's just marketing term. So we'll give it a try and see how we like it.